in the quiet suburb of Maplewood. Nestled between a coffee shop that couldn't make coffee and a pharmacy that sold everything but aspirin, stood a cheerful retirement community known as Golden Years Court. It was a place where the lawns were trimmed, the neighbors smiled just enough, and the highlight of every month was the arrival of the community newsletter, the Golden Gossip. But one spring morning, peace was shattered, not by crime, not by scandal, but by carrots. Yes, carrots. Chapter 1. Battle begins. It all started when Eleanor Thompson, age 69 and proud owner of the only organic garden on the east side, decided to expand her vegetable patch. "I'm growing purple carrots," she announced during bingo night. "They're healthier, exotic, and absolutely non-GMO." Everyone clapped politely, except for George Murray, age 71, who grew regular carrots and saw this as a direct attack. "Purple carrots," he muttered into his iced tea. "Next thing you know, she'll be raising lavender lettuce." Eleanor smiled sweetly at him. "Jealousy is unbecoming, George." From that moment on, the air between their garden plots became thick with fertilizer and tension. Chapter 2. Carrots and Counterattacks. Eleanor's purple carrots became the talk of the community. "Oh, they're divine," gushed Mabel from Unit 3A. "They taste like royalty," added Jim, who hadn't eaten a vegetable since 1998. George, fuming, created a sign next to his plot. "Orange carrots. The real deal." Then he built a scarecrow shaped suspiciously like Eleanor, complete with a floppy sun hat and pearl earrings. Eleanor retaliated by installing a wind chime that played the tune of "Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better." By June, the entire courtyard was divided into Team Eleanor and Team George. Chapter 3. Let Us Pray. The war escalated. George sneakily replaced Eleanor's compost with potting soil. Eleanor painted ladybugs on George's zucchinis to enhance pollination. Someone, possibly Edna, age 74 with suspiciously green thumbs, spray painted "Root for Truth" on George's shed. Community manager Larry tried to intervene. He called an emergency meeting at the rec room. "I'm begging you," he said, rubbing his temples. "It's just vegetables." "Just?" Eleanor gasped. "Would you say the Mona Lisa is just a painting?" "It's about honor," George added solemnly, holding up a perfectly average carrot. Larry sighed and handed out coupons to the local gardening center as a distraction. It only made things worse. Chapter 4. A Leafy Détente. By July, the garden rivalry had become the community's favorite entertainment. People placed bets on whose carrots would grow largest. Others baked cakes shaped like carrots to stay neutral. Even the ducks in the nearby pond stopped to watch the drama unfold. But then something unexpected happened. A storm. One summer night, a freak windstorm swept through Golden Years Court. Trees bent sideways, flower pots rolled down sidewalks, and, worst of all, both George's and Eleanor's gardens were devastated. Carrots, both orange and purple, lay uprooted and muddy. Raised beds had collapsed. The scarecrow lost an arm and gained a hat from a lawn flamingo. Chapter 5. Common Ground. The next morning, George and Eleanor surveyed the damage. "Your carrots didn't stand a chance," George muttered. "Neither did yours," Eleanor replied. Then, after a long pause, "Want some coffee?" They sat on Eleanor's porch, sipping coffee and watching the squirrels steal what remained of their hard work. "We were ridiculous, weren't we?" George said. "Utterly." Eleanor smiled. He glanced sideways. "You know, your purple carrots did look rather fancy. And yours were classic." she admitted. Like carrot comfort food. They laughed for the first time in weeks. Chapter 6. A New Alliance. The following day, they made a joint announcement. We are forming the Carrot Coalition. It would be a shared garden plot with both orange and purple carrots growing side by side. George would be in charge of soil testing. Eleanor would supervise compost and aesthetics. They even created a tiny wooden sign that read, "Unity through root vegetables." Golden Years Court rejoiced. Peace had returned. Epilogue. Growing more than vegetables. By the end of summer, the Carrot Coalition became a symbol. Other residents joined the cause. Edna started growing radishes, for diplomacy. Mabel planted lettuce, as an olive branch. Even Larry got in on the action, planting tomatoes and finally relaxing. And George and Eleanor? They started a weekly garden gossip and tea club on Wednesdays. They taught others about mulch, invited guest speakers, and once hosted a carrot cook-off judged by the community dog. Bingo! Their garden flourished, but so did their friendship. One day, as they harvested side by side, George asked, "Ever think about growing lavender lettuce?" Eleanor smirked. "Only if you promise to wear the scarecrow hat."